What is your involvement within the creative arts sector?
So I am a live music promoter based in Teesside under the brand of Famous Last Words.
How did you originally get involved with promoting?
I became originally involved by writing a blog to start with, and then I set out to start putting these gigs on myself, and then it just sort of excelled from there, working with the likes of Twisterella and Stockton Calling.
And Gathering Sound.
And Gathering Sound, yeah.
Do you know what I find this? I just saw this question here and I just thought like, I quite like asking questions that don't really fit people's jobs, but like, because it could be interesting. Who are your, like, your major influences when it comes to promoting gigs?
Oh, when it comes to promoting gigs, I have a foundation of how to promote a gig and what I sort of do a tick list and be like, I've done this, done this, done this, done this. But then I sort of look, not influences as such, but it's just
inspirations and maybe.
Yeah, it's sort of. Obviously, I work with Marty Collentine. I think when it comes to designing the posters and things like that, like I do try and take the creative aspect probably from Marty more than anyone in terms of trying to reach a sort of new audience in terms of making the poster artwork and not just selling the gig, it's selling the poster as such.
Oh yeah, he's great for that though, isn't he? Like I couldn't think of a better like designer and creative artist. So in that sense, how did you learn your craft?
I did night classes, introduction to graphic design, did that side of it via Teesside Uni, Middlesbrough College. But in terms of actually physically putting on gigs, etc., working with people from Tees Music Alliance, interlinking myself with Jimmy Beck and Ash Wem from Empire and things like that, literally getting out there and making that relationship as such is probably the best thing you can do.
Cool. Why do you think the creative arts are important, Adam?
But besides the fact of the such positives that they bring to not only the audience and businesses and things like that, it's the aspect of you could find something that you really enjoy from the get-go, and then run from that. I think there's so many avenues and so many people out there that build up this creative art sector within the country. It's vitally important.
And do you think, I'm just like trying to like sort of dig a little deeper into that, like what about like more of a broader stroke then, if you were like not working but like just experiencing the creative arts?
Yeah, I think people seem to think that creative art isn't a sort of job as such, but when you actually look into creative art, it's literally in everyday life as such, and that pastime as well of going to gigs, going to theatre, going to cinema, all that is part of creative art. And I think it's in terms of, especially this year, it's sort of highlighted how vitally important the sector is to everyone.
Yeah, it literally is everything, isn't it? Like everything you've got in your house now, somebody designed that. Like,
yeah,
it's really difficult, isn't it, not to be like, like it. Like, I think it's a weird question because to say that something isn't important means that it doesn't like function almost like in stuff. But like, you know, if there's a sofa there, there's a mirror, there's some photos. Like, everyone's done that.
Design that, yeah.
At some point, and then you've got the more broader strokes, like any kind of sounds that you hear and whatnot. It's just, it's all music, isn't it? But that wasn't even the big question, Adam. The big question is, how has lockdown affected your work and your future plans as a promoter?
It's basically affected. It's basically wiped out my 2020 plans. It was hard to basically have someone say to you, like, no, you can't do this. And you're like, well, I've done all this work beforehand and I can't do anything. But what we've done is, what I'm doing in terms of 2021 is literally shifting all them dates to 2021 and expanding on that. I think everyone's being cooped up inside and following these rules, etc. I think that when it's safe to do so, 2021 will be hugely successful in terms of everyone wanting to get out there and even see even more determined to see new artists.
I think, like you've moved everything from 2020 to 2021. Does that like feel like it's like you haven't moved as a promoter, or do you think, I know like you're doing uni and whatnot as well, but like, do you think like if 2020 hadn't happened as a lockdown and everything, like obviously pandemic, I'm saying if Corona wasn't a thing, like I'm not saying if people just went outside and just did it and got ill and died, like I didn't want that. Like, but like if 2020 was to it, do you feel like, you know what I'm trying to get at? Like, do you feel like?
I think in terms of looking at my yearly festival, I don't think I'd ever put it as a full weekend. If 2020 happened as it has, I think it'd just still be an all-day festival and it'd still run as that. But then at the same time, you sort of progress. You have to adapt to what you've been given. In terms of being like promoting and gig-wise, you do miss it as such, but it's just trying to adapt it and push forward as best as possible as you can do that.
So like you've made Monroe, isn't it, festival? You've made that now 2 days, so essentially you get that day back that you would have missed.
Yeah, so
how it feels.
Yeah, so it's normally an all-day festival, but we've made it full weekend in 2021 just purely because we had a full lineup for 2020, but then obviously we still want to work with more artists for the 2021 lineup, so we just merged it all together and expanded it that way.
Cool. Honouring gigs, that's what you've been doing.
Yeah.
Honouring gigs. That's what us promoters do. Thanks very much for your time, Adam.
No worries.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks. Same to you.
I'm going to do.